Anthony Melchiori, so great to see you. But for some reason, I feel like you're pre-taped.
I'm what?
Pre-taped.
I thought you said I'm a pretty cake.
Don't make me
You
say
have
something.
nothing.
You're
You
going to
have
make me. No, I have something, but it's filthy.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Pre-Recorded. That's Anthony Melchiori over there. I'm Glenn Hausman. And of course, you're watching No Vacancy Live for January 27th, 2022. I'm probably whisking my way back in an airplane to New York as you are watching this. And I want to thank you all for joining us. Anthony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, you know what I'm saying? But let me tell you, Anthony, I'm just excited that we've been here. We've been doing lots of great stuff all week. But tomorrow, on Friday, I'm releasing an all-new episode of the Hotel Design Podcast. I'm super excited about that because it's with Paul Steelman. You may not know his name, but he's designed pretty much all the major Las Vegas resorts out there. The brand new Resorts World, the new Circa, and we go behind the scenes and learn all about how they created these incredible properties.
Circa is doing an amazing job on social media. Everywhere I look, they're there. I mean, it's really amazing, and it's really a great property, really bringing downtown Vegas back.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about technology. In order to do that, we have Tim Sullivan with us, who is the CEO of Cendyn. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.
It is great to see you. So as we're doing this interview, you just closed on the acquisition of Pegasus, doing a merger. Pretty exciting stuff.
It is exciting. Yeah. We just announced that. Well, we announced the deal a few months ago, and we just closed it on Monday. Really brings together two of the leading technology providers in the hospitality industry. Pegasus has a long storied history in the industry, but combined with Travel Tripper and brings in some technology that really allows us to deliver on our mission of personalizing and optimizing the guest journey. So we're really excited about it. A talented team, great global footprint, and some really exciting technology.
All right, so tell us a little bit out, just so people can be oriented. What is Cendyn? What is Pegasus?
So Cendyn is a global technology company. We're a data-centric company, and we provide an integrated technology platform that drives personalization and optimization of the guest journey all through the use of data. So at our core, we're really a data company. We can connect to all of the systems, bring the data in, centralize it, unify it, transform it, and make it available for distribution to light up any applications or use cases.
Okay, in every part of the industry, and I've worked in every part of the industry,
Yep.
The most complicated part of the industry, and a lot of reasons that hoteliers go to brands is because this part of the industry is the scariest part. So in 30 seconds or less, explain to people what the hell you're talking about.
And I'll sing I will sing the Jeopardy theme song to make sure you're staying on time.
So in 30 seconds,
I'll give you some more time.
what's important to hotels, right? The direct booking channel. So what's the challenge with hotels right now is they're forced to do more with less.
But interestingly enough, Tim, not to interrupt you, but at Alice this week, I got an interesting factoid from Calibri Labs that during the pandemic period, direct bookings actually popped up like 15%. So kudos to hoteliers out there. Please continue.
Yeah, which is great. And but it's been uneven as well, right?
Yes,
some
of course.
markets are doing incredibly well.
Right.
Leisure travel is doing very well.
Right.
I just flew in from Miami. Miami is above 2019 levels, but that's not even across the board. So as this uneven demand starts to come back, how are hotels going to capture their fair share of that demand?
And that's the #1 priority of a hotelier.
That's one of them for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're doing that with less staff, right? Less resources. So our industry, unfortunately, was hit a lot harder than others during the pandemic. But travel will come back. And when it comes back, it's coming back. The complexion has changed. The channel mix has changed. The reporting has changed. The data is messy. So they need trusted technology partners that can provide solutions that are going to allow them to capitalize on it. Look, the OTAs spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising. They spend
I think Expedia before the
Billions.
pandemic was like $1 billion a year. Right. Crazy,
So
right?
2-3 times what the global brands spend. The global brands spend 10, 20, 30 times what the independent brands and management companies and hotel ownership groups spend. So you can't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Right.
But you can be smarter about it. You could bring a bow, right? Very targeted, a very technically proficient way of being smarter about how you're targeting that guest. And it's all based on having the technology and the data so you can be nimble and agile to leverage it to drive that personalization and optimization. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I just checked in for this hotel conference and I went to the app and I said, I want to pre-check in and I want a mobile key. The app said mobile key being processed. Okay, fine. I'll check tomorrow when I get there. Took my long flight. I got there. I went to check in. The mobile key still said processing. So I went to the front desk. I showed the front desk agent my app. So she knew I was a member of the loyalty program. She looked up my record. She looked at the screen and printed out my keys, proceeded to walk around the front desk and say, have you stayed with us before?
What?
And I went, not at this particular hotel. And she said, well, we have a restaurant, we have a pool, we have the elevators are right there.
Right.
It was a real missed opportunity, right? Obviously, she's looking at a screen. I've stayed at this hotel brand dozens and dozens of times. I've been a member of the loyalty program for well over a decade. So why can't that data be leveraged in a more compelling way to elevate that experience and that engagement with me? So I want to come back there. It's not a huge deal. It's subtle, but that's just one example of how, I get it.
Well, Tim, that is a big deal.
I was going to say, I can't disagree with you more. It's not only a big deal, it's the whole deal. Because why do you stay with that one brand?
Right.
Is because you want to feel where everybody knows your name, right? Going back to Cheers.
Right.
It's like you just, that little special. I had a gentleman, billionaire guy that I used to work with. And I asked him, why do you stay at the Ritz-Carlton? He goes, this is going to sound corny, but they sent me a birthday card.
Right.
He goes, I like that they remember my birthday.
Right.
And so it's the whole deal. So, and it
Right.
really is mind boggling that the technology at the front desk and the application of that technology between the computer and the person doing it is horrific most of the time.
It is.
And it's amazing.
Yep.
Well, I feel like my entire career, the hotel industry's had opportunity to be able to leverage this data in a meaningful way that makes better connections with customers. But for some reason, 25, 27 years later, from when I entered this business, we still seem to be dealing with the same sorts of issues. So how can technology today make that connection between providing the right information and then actually getting people to utilize it?
Right. Yeah. So that's our mission.
Right.
That's our crusade. That's
Right.
why Cendyn,
I love that word,
that's
crusade.
why Cendyn exists in the world. And, people are starting to get it. We talk a lot, and there's been a lot of talk at Alice around digital transformation. Right. So the expectations of the consumer has been set. Anything they want at their fingertips, from a shopping experience, an entertainment experience. It's all personalized and it's all delivered instantly in real time.
That's true, because we stream everything,
That's
instant
right.
gratification. I don't have to wait till Tuesdays at 8:30 to watch Happy Days, right?
That's
so
right.
I have that. If I order a package in certain markets, it could be same day or I get it the next day. So all of our expectations are now, and hotels either have to go along with that or be left behind, right?
You know,
That's right.
A couple of years ago, I completely disagreed with what I'm about to say.
Oh boy.
But I think it's true. I think the front desk is going away. And a couple of years ago, I didn't believe that. But just like the cashier of the supermarket, you have 8 banks of computers and you go and there's one supervisor standing in the corner in case you have a problem.
Right.
That's where we're going. We're going to basically, most people are going to check in right to the room, and you're going to have one person in the lobby in case you have a problem.
Right.
And I wouldn't have said that a couple of years ago. And twofold. One, it's just more efficient for everyone. And two, we've just not figured out, unless you're at the very high-end hotel, how to get that person behind the front desk and that technology to talk to each other in a convenient way to the front desk. I just said it before. It drives me nuts that I go to these big hotels and there's still lines. I don't get it.
Well, we have figured it out. It just hasn't been adopted, just to be frank.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So
Great.
the
Or adopted
technology
poorly.
is available. And when we talk about digital transformation, it's important people think, oh, well, that's just software. That's just moving to the cloud. That's not that doesn't get you there. You have to put the effort in to change your operational procedures so the data and the human experience are combined in a way that you're enabling the people who are interacting with guests to have those deeper, more meaningful interactions with them.
It's going to become more and more difficult simply because that's why I think it's all just going to go away and it's going to be in the guest hands because there's so much turnover now. It's the training is just, it takes so long.
It does. Yeah.
And that to me that's why I'm pretty convinced, the last couple of months, maybe a year or two, that it's going to go away. And it'll be there in the higher end hotels, but in the economy and mid-scale hotels, you're going to basically check in at your door.
I think that's probably right.
I also, I totally agree that the front desk is going away, but I think there will still be a person at the high-end hotels to handle you. So you won't have to, right, you won't have to go to a traditional someone standing behind the desk looking at a computer screen and typing for 20 minutes type of scenario, but they'll be there to assist you.
Yeah, but I think at the high-end hotels, like the concierge, the front desk person, like we want that. Like when people go into those hotels, you're paying because you want that experience.
Yes, but instead of saying, hello, sir, can I run your credit card and try to explain for the 20,000th time, what a hold is and all of that, they could just be like, welcome, Mr. Melchiori. Thank you for being here. Here's your key. We think you're an amazing customer. We love you, all of that kind of stuff, right? So there are ways to utilize technology at that high level while still getting rid of some of the systems that we've had in
welcome
place.
back. And oh, by the way, we have an upgrade available because we see you stayed in the suite last time. Oh, and we also see that you like this dining experience. Can we make a reservation for you? So there's an opportunity missed too to increase profit and increase wallet share that's not being taken advantage of.
And it's just never 1990 when I was at the Plaza, the front desk trying to incentivize people for upgrades and all that stuff. It's still not happening. I mean, it's just not happening at front desk where people are saying, okay, you came in with a third party, now come through our website. That still doesn't happen. When was the last time somebody said to you, I see you, well, we don't book through third parties, but I've never heard anyone say, hey, I booked through a third party. And the front desk clerk said, receptionist said, book through our website. Next time we'll give you a discount, whatever it is. Yeah. It still doesn't exist. So it really has, for some reason, that front desk operation has not been able to get to that level of technology training that we've all hoped for.
Yeah, agreed. They're either unwilling or unable, or in the current environment, to your point, makes it harder because they're understaffed. And, you may have 2019, you maybe had a 15-person marketing department that had web developers and strategists, and they were creating Excel spreadsheets and these kind of bespoke proprietary systems for running the demand generation and the channel mix at the hotel. Now that team's 3 people, and 2 of them have only been working there 6 months, and they came from another industry. Like that model doesn't work anymore.
And they got their resumes on LinkedIn.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, we believe that coming out of the pandemic to help the industry recover, that with hotels needing to do more with less, they need fewer trusted technology partners, which is why we're expanding with things like the Pegasus merger, the Next Guest merger, so we can provide a more complete solution and provide that data that is so they can know their guests and then action it in more compelling ways.
But companies like you have been problems for hotels too, because you're taking a lot of talented people from the hotel business and they're going to hotel adjacent kind of companies. Right. I mean, how many people come to you from hotels that are very, very good at what they do? I'm not blaming you.
But it goes both ways. So we lose people to hotels sometimes too. Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of shift back and forth. It's within the industry.
No, I'm just kidding.
So out of all the sectors in hospitality, design, food and beverage, customer behavior, the most exciting place to me is technology. And it's starting to feel, Tim, after decades and decades, the hotel industry is actually waking up to the importance of technology, and it's leaving a lot of companies scrambling in order to be able to catch up in a real and meaningful way. So this is setting up the stage for a lot of great technology companies. But one of the issues I'm starting to see out there is we've got to figure out how to reinvent everything. Up until now, the PMS has been the de facto brains of the hotel. And I see there's a lot of opportunities to kind of change the way we do things. In a general technology perspective in hospitality, how are you seeing these issues kind of shake out and develop?
I totally agree with you. You know, I think it's been a crutch for a while in
Right.
the industry that people just say, oh, the hospitality industry is behind the curve.
Right.
And there's some truth to that, but it also becomes this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. And what's exciting, look, the pandemic's been an accelerant in our lives in many ways. It's accelerated how our relationship with work. It accelerated the delivery of medicines. It accelerated government spending. It's accelerated the adoption of technology. And hospitality has not been left out of that, but there will be winners and losers because people are looking at technology not as a CapEx investment that I have to shrink as much as possible because it's a hole in my budget, but it's a growth strategy that if I invest in a compelling way, I'm going to have a competitive advantage because I'm after that demand we talked about at the top of the show. How am I going to get my fair share? And the only way to do it with less staff and less resources is through automation and technology investment. And we've invested heavily over the past 2 years, not just Cendyn, but others in the industry. You start seeing this kind of open API architecture where it's easier to interconnect. It's not these monolithic point solutions that sit in a server room on premise at a product that you need an army of IT people to manage. So that is shifting.
Right. So real quick, Anthony, I know you want to say something, but open API. It used to be in the industry that you'd have to have all these complex interfaces between. So if you have a property management system, then anybody that wants to connect to it, you would have to create a specific interface to it, a lot of resources, a lot of time. Open APIs eliminates that, right, Tim? Or mostly
there's still some work to do, but it's a much more seamless way of connecting systems together.
Right.
And the mapping's there. You're right. We talked to a lot of hotel technology companies. The waste in every company is doing the same work over and over again. Everybody's connecting to Oracle. Everybody's connecting to Protel. And in some situations, and we're guilty of this as well, 4 or 5 years ago, we would have a connection to Oracle for a CRM, a connection to Oracle for our RMS, like multiple connections. Think of the waste in that and the amount of cycles being spent on people maintaining that. And with an open API architecture, you can start creating compelling marketplaces where it's very easy for a hotel team to say, I want to try that app out. I'm going to plug it in and see how it works.
So for layman, let's go back a little bit and really explain that, because even for me, it's a little bit over my head. What does that mean? Because I am used to, okay, let's integrate here and let's integrate there. And that's not integratable. That's $20,000. That takes 6 months. They can't do it. The dog ate the wire.
That's right.
So I've been through
That's still a problem, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I've been through that big time. And we still all go through it. So explain to people what's the difference, and really kind of in a layman.
Yeah. So moving from that to a modern API, and API just stands for Application Programming Interface. It's a set of instructions. So this system has a set of instructions of how another system can come in and connect to it and pull the data it needs out of it or push data back in, as opposed to this kind of bespoke building out an interface either through pulling or a direct database connection or Oracle Oxy connections, which is a set of instructions. It creates this open, available, published instruction set saying, if you want to connect to my system and pull this type of data out of it, here it is. There's a web page. Your developers who understand that language can go in, and it's a lot quicker, it's a lot more streamlined, and it's a lot easier to maintain. Does that make sense? It's basically an instruction for bringing the data together between multiple systems.
Growing up, I used to go to this ski resort in Jersey, and the lines were just famous for just hours and hours and hours. And this gentleman took over, my friend Joe.
It's about Mountain Creek?
Mountain Creek. He's a friend of mine and client of mine. And he changed the technology. And now you go from your car to the slopes in like 3 seconds. No matter how busy it is, no matter how, if it's a holiday weekend, the technology that he incorporated is absolutely phenomenal. And I look forward to going there instead of looking forward to standing in line. And it's simply because of that open technology, because everything speaks as one. And it's amazing what technology did to that resort.
It's amazing when it works, right?
Right.
It almost feels like magic when it works.
Yeah.
And you forget. And this is, remember the toll booth, not to cut you off. Remember the toll booths used to stay there, and the lady used to take the money and you say thank you. She say thank you. Well, most of the time she didn't say thank you. And then you go on. And that would take about 35 seconds. And the line would be
Forever.
3 miles long. Now we fly through the toll booths and you don't even think about it.
That's right.
So that's what happens with technology. It becomes so easy that you forgot that it's actually technology happening in your life. And we have to get there in the hotel business.
That's exactly right. I was just going to say that. The best technology disappears into the background.
Right.
You don't notice that you're interacting with technology because it's so seamless.
Right. And I guess that's going to be the future of hospitality, is adding as much technology as possible to increase guest satisfaction while lowering overall costs, which I know we said a couple of times already on this particular podcast. But Tim, there are so many companies now that are offering all sorts of different products and services. It's a lot of mental overload, I think, for owners and those paying the bills on it. You guys just did this deal to integrate, to merge with Pegasus. I think we're going to see a lot more mergers because of this in the future. Because me, if I was a hotel owner, I'm not going to want to deal with 20 different technology companies. I'm going to want to deal with a handful, probably.
Nor is it practical with the current staffing levels to deal with 20 different technology companies.
Right.
And if they each have different interfaces, like we just talked about, and it's not a centralized solution, it adds all kinds of overhead, and then it just becomes that expense in the budget. So yeah, I completely agree with that. You know, we believe coming out of the pandemic, our thesis is that scale matters, that stability matters. So we're trying to assemble a group of use cases and applications that meet the broadest range of hospitality use cases, but in an open system.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we think our solutions are best of breed. But if we've done the heavy lifting, like we talked about on unifying the data, so here's your guest profile that is now able to be distributed or picked up. Use our system for one. If you've already invested in a different RMS or a different CRES, use that. We've done the heavy lifting, but your e-commerce team, your marketing team, your sales team, your business intelligence team are now all aligned and working off the same data. So it adds a ton of efficiency to the process instead of trying to pull insights from all these different data silos and stitch it together in an Excel file and understand what the hell your guests are doing.
One of the challenges that we don't talk enough about, I think, is when you have all this technology. We haven't been born on the internet, but a lot of the kids now running hotels, people running hotels have been. And I think as we age out and these younger people, and I hate to say older and younger generation, but it's just the truth, that basically were given an iPad before they were given a bottle. This technology and the application of these technologies are so much easier as opposed to a 50-year-old guy saying, hey, we need this technology and that technology. Like, why? It's overwhelming. Do you see that like as really helping bring technology into the industry a little faster, because people who are not really used to dealing with technology are no longer going to be in charge?
So Tim, before you answer that, let me just give people another quick lesson. Digital natives versus digital immigrants. Children from Generation Z are pure digital natives. They are growing up in a universe completely different than us older folks did, who are digital immigrants. Our big technology was cable TV. And like Anthony said, younger people have that iPad. So they inherently know how to use it from birth, basically, and don't have to learn in the same way and make such adjustments. Right, Tim?
Two answers to the question. Yes, that's absolutely right. It's already happening. Look what Airbnb has done. Right. They built a technology platform. Very interesting what Sonder's doing. Right. It's still relatively small. I think about 1 million guests in the database, but it's
so people don't know, Sonder is more of the service department concept with it's more of an extended stay
with a technology first approach.
That's right.
You do everything on the app, from checking in, from booking to service requests, so they can drive the cost down by less staff in the hotel, to your point, Anthony, that you're making earlier. So that's already happening. I totally agree with you. But the second part of it is we have to keep those folks interested in our industry, right? The hospitality, the drain of talent out of the hospitality industry over the past 2 years is heartbreaking. And it continues. So how do we keep this industry relevant and exciting? You know, people come to it because they love to travel. There's a passion for it. Well, when you're in lockdown for 2 years and you're not traveling and you're working on old technology and it doesn't seem like it's innovative and moving forward, we have to think about how we keep people engaged and interested so we can continue to innovate. And, it's one of the largest industries by revenue in the world. And it
One in
just,
11
it
people
deserves that.
in 1 in 11 people in the world work for hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that still true though, post-pandemic?
Yeah, it's still true.
It is?
But yeah, it's still true. But according to 60 Minutes, it is.
Yeah.
If you can believe. So, I'm doing my part, and Glenn's heard me, and he knows what I'm working on. And my only really, it's kind of coming to the point where I've had 3 or 4 things I'm working on, and it seems like it's all being funneled through this one thing, and it's getting people excited about hospitality. You said it. When we first did Hotel Impossible 10 years ago,
Great show.
people were going to hospitality school. They were like, I had one young lady who's graduated and is a VP now in some technology business, and she saw our show as a teenager, and she went to Cornell because of the show, and then she graduated. She's still in the industry, and she's a friend of mine. So I've always been an advocate of the excitement. Listen, what you do is exciting to you. The technology part and the ability to understand all this, that's not exciting to me.
Right.
You put me with a designer and give me a brand new development, and I'm like a kid in a candy store. That's where I get excited. I get excited that the technology works, and I'll invest in technology, but I don't really want to know how it works. Just make sure it works. And so there's so much excitement and so many different interests, for people to come into this industry. So thank you for saying that, because I've talked about it ad nauseum on the show, is that we have one mission: get people excited about hospitality. It's not checking people in and cleaning rooms only.
That's right.
It's so many things. It's podcast, it's everything. And we're working on something big to really for TV to really to make this an exciting industry.
Well, let us know if we can
Thank
be
you.
involved in that and
Absolutely.
participate, because it's so important. We do our part too. We try to, where we have offices, to partner with the local universities and not just the hospitality programs, but the digital marketing programs, to go in and kind of evangelize.
And that's
talk
exactly
about
what we're doing.
How exciting it is.
There's a university that we're talking with that's doing an Anthony Montgomery Hospitality School. And I said, it's bigger than that. We need to bring in the technology, the plumbers, the electricians, the drone operators, like everybody come in and let's build a hotel and let's really show what goes into that. And that, to me, get all kinds of kids involved, because they're not looking at just checking people in and checking people out.
Right. Think about a casino resort. It's like a mini city. Every job you could think of is encompassed in that building, from security guards to there's a police force, there's security, there's gambling, there's loyalty. I mean, it's unbelievable. Construction, maintenance.
I was just at Pelican Hill. Pelican Hill? My friend's the general manager, and he's driving me around in the golf cart. I looked at him and I go, I don't get jealous of people's jobs. I want your job. And I know what goes into your job, and I know the stress and working for an independent owner and all that. But you still have the coolest job. And that's what I want people to get excited about. Right. If every kid in America drove with me on that golf cart yesterday, every one of them would say, I don't want to be a doctor, I don't want to be a lawyer, I don't want to be a plumber. I want to ride around this golf cart. It's unbelievable. It really, I've been in the industry forever, and I still felt like a 5-year-old going, I want this job.
Right.
That's fun. So Tim, let me ask you this, being excited about things. Twofold. What are you most excited about in regards to technology and hospitality outside what your company currently focuses on? And how do you see you being able to leverage some of the excitement in the future with wherever you go next?
Yeah, I would say to the first one, what I'm most excited about, we kind of touched on earlier, is that it is starting to catch fire, that you're seeing the shift to kind of cloud native, open API architecture systems within the hospitality industry. And that opens up a world of possibilities.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Hasn't that been available for years now?
It has.
Right. But what happened?
Well, it continues to evolve and improve as well, right? So you finally have, some of the leaders, some of the 800-pound gorillas like Oracle moving to their OHIP platform, which is an open structure, right? And I think that's been driven by startups that have grown in scale. I think SiteMinder was one of the first marketplaces. Now you have companies like Muse that are cloud native, and it evolves over time, right? So we were a little behind earlier on, and I think the hospitality industry is catching up, and there's some really exciting technology out there. But when you create those platforms that are open and you can build applications on top of that data, it drives the innovation forward, so that the plumbing's all there. And so innovators can come into the space and go, I don't have to figure out how to connect to 20 different systems and cobble this together. The data I need's right there. Let me build a cool app for, checking in without the front desk. And we saw some companies this week at Alice that are doing some really compelling stuff in that space, in the tech roundup that we saw the competitions.
Right.
When will we be able to do what Bewitched did, go like that, and I'll be in a hotel room? When will you be able to accomplish
Get to that nose deal.
Oh, that was just a no.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to wrinkle my nose.
You're talking about teleportation now?
Yeah. Are we Monday it'll be available?
Let's try it.
Yeah, right. Dr. Bombay.
Oh, God, that's my favorite character. Him and Gazoo, my two favorite characters. Dr. Bombay. Oh my God.
So then, Tim, when you're looking at building your team and stuff, right? And now you've got Cendyn and Pegasus as one.
Yeah.
How much are you looking towards hospitality people? How much are you looking towards tech people? And how much do you look towards other sectors that might be able to inform and improve on where you're going?
Yeah, all of the above, right? So certainly, to Anthony's point earlier, there are people who come from the hospitality space into a technology company because they bring that subject matter expertise around something like revenue management.
Right.
You can't build a solution for someone unless you know who's going to be using it. So
that hasn't stopped some of these people from doing that. What are you talking about? Every technology guy's built every platform in the world. They go, so what do you know about hotels? Oh, it's just like everything else. I'm like, okay, I gotta go.
So you need that expertise, right? And you also need very smart technologists. I do think, and we talk about this a lot, there are other industries that can have a powerful influence where you bring somebody in. Look, we can be a little incestuous in hospitality, right? Where we're all kind of speaking the same language to disrupt that and bring somebody in like retail. Why isn't the booking experience more like the Amazon shopping experience, right? Why am I on a website that's like a brochure and I click book and now I'm on a different website that looks different and it's a separate application, So and that's evolving as well, but scarcity pricing and personalization and recommendations and upgrades, that should all be part of that seamless process.
I use Amazon as an example for everything. It's like the reason it works. When people get mad at him, the Bezos or whoever, it's like, listen, he invented a better mousetrap. And if you would have told me that I would buy everything, I counted the other day, I had 600 deliveries of Amazon to my house last year.
Right.
600. Okay, that's almost 2 packages a day. Everything I buy on Amazon. And why? Because I could literally get in my car and before I take off, go, oh, that's right, I have to order that. And I've counted 11 seconds.
Right.
Done. 11 seconds from the second I get on Amazon to the second I push the button, 11 seconds. Why can't we do that?
Well, and not just that, the simplicity of the order, but what they know about you. I was saying yesterday, I can't open an email from Amazon without buying 10 things.
Right.
They have the recommendations so spot on.
So what we're really talking about now, Tim, is machine learning. Right.
That's part of it. Algorithms.
Right. And leveraging that because those companies do it so well. Like you said, they know what you want. So now hotels have got to figure out, like you're doing with the CRM type of component, to really be able to deliver that information, which brings us all the way back to the beginning of our conversation.
And one more example, one more example is I'm a big Delta guy. It's still a pain in the ass to navigate everything within the Delta platform.
Right.
I mean, I still can't get my regional certificate to get me an upgrade without having to call somebody and then wait on hold for an hour and a half. And I still love them, and I'm nothing bad about Delta.
Right.
There's got to be an easier way.
And while we're at it, Delta, if you please fix it so I don't have to call in when I want to make a flight change, that'd be saving you money and it'd be saving me a lot.
I don't understand it, man. I just can't understand why.
Haven't you noticed though? I fly Delta pretty often as well. That over the past 18 months, that the recognition and the personalization of the check-in and in-cabin experience has improved?
I constantly get thank you, Mr. Hausman, for being a platinum member. And if I don't get that, then it sticks out.
That's the problem, right?
But it's become so common, though. And I got to give Ed Bastian a lot of credit. He really maneuvered through this crisis brilliantly, made me like that airline more. So
Listen,
they're heading in the right direction.
I love Delta. I'm the biggest fan of Delta. However, it's kind of like the DoubleTree. Here's the cookie.
Right.
It's like, all right, there's got to be some warmth and love and individualness to that. Thank you for being a diamond member. You know how many times every day it's like today when I get on the flight, it's gonna be thank you for being a diamond member. But it's got to mean something when I get to my seat. I get the same bottle of water as everyone else. I get the same experience. I've flown more than 99% of anybody on Delta this year. Period. There should be some level of recognition, and I think that's the problem with these programs, whether it be the Marriott programs, the IHG programs. It's that everybody within that group is treated exactly the same, and the employees start to lose the heart. So we've got to take the technology, also train people to make it an individual experience.
Yeah, it's really a combination of the two, right? And if you get that really personalized experience, to your point, Glenn, one time, and then the next time you don't, it's almost worse.
Yeah, right.
Because the expectation's been set that this is possible, and then they don't deliver.
And what does it take on my birthday? Not that I've ever thought of it, but outside this second, like on my birthday, as I'm getting on a plane, happy birthday, Mr. Malcurie.
Right.
That one little thing. How hard is that from a technology standpoint to know it's my birthday? You have like, I live on your airplanes. How do you not know it's my birthday?
Well, I contend that still the hardest part is you can deliver that information really easy, but get the person to acknowledge it and utilize it to the company.
It's a combo, right? Like I said earlier, digital transformation isn't just putting the technology in place, it's training the people how to leverage the technology. You have to be willing to make the operational changes to really take advantage of the technology that's there.
So Tim, if you could, Dr. Bombay it, and we can go to the future, what will, in your hopes, the hospitality technology experience be for both the operator and then secondly for the customer in a perfect world when we get it all figured out? And will we finally have outlets next to my bed?
What was the last one?
Will we finally have outlets next to the bed?
Right. I thought you said
answer that one because it's never going to happen.
I thought you were going to say, would Alice be next to my bed? It's like, that's your wife.
Yeah, for operators, I think that technology will shift to a growth strategy, and hopefully the platforms are in place that they can, innovate. And to Anthony's point, not spend all day thinking about it, but it just works. Plug it in and it works, and it's driving the efficiencies and profitable growth in the business. Or the guest and the customer, our mission. And again, our crusade has been, how do you remove the friction from that journey?
Right.
And, the bar has been set high. What happens when you do a ride hailing app? You know the driver's name. They know that the first thing they do is greet you by name. They know how many trips you've taken. You have a star rating on each person. There's all this data involved. And then you get out of the Uber and you walk to the front desk of a hotel you've stayed at 100 times. And the first thing they say is, hi, have you stayed with us before? And it's in that moment, they've set your relationship back to zero. So all that money and time you've invested in that brand is meaningless in that moment. So our goal and our hope is that it becomes the norm that you walk in and you're greeted in a very personalized way.
And it's true, because why is that experience for Uber work? Because it takes me 1 second. And the best part is I don't have to give you my credit card. Yes. You have my credit card. For some reason, that little thing of me just being able to get out of my car without giving you my credit card literally is like, it's transformational. It really is. It's everything. Why do I have to put my luggage down? I have to take my credit card out. I have to sign the reg card. I have to talk to you about nonsense. And then I have to go to the elevator and then I have to get my key, and it's just
talk about friction, right?
Right. And then same thing with the elevators. I know it's a security issue, but then I have to get this morning. I'm holding Glenn's coffee because as everyone knows, I'm Glenn's assistant. So I'm holding his coffee on top of my orange juice with my muffin, and I have to get my key out to put in the elevator to get to the next floor. And I'm like, I'm going to burn myself.
Yeah. Right. And I'm way too lazy to put the coffee down on the floor
Oh
first.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that used to be so awkward too before Uber when
Mhm.
you pull up to the hotel and you're trying to figure out the tip and get your bags, and the guy's standing there holding the door for you. waiting.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you're like,
It feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
And it's a little
horrible.
thing. It's just a little thing. And that's what and thank you for doing your job, because that's what we need. We need, we're dealing with a client right now opening a hotel, and to bring them through the process, my partner, Jeremy Pinkerton, who brings them through the process of connectivity and, brings everybody on board. And again, I sit there and I still don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So she does it. And it's fascinating to see people like, wow, that's how it works. It's like no one knows how it really, really works. What you do is like you're a magician to most people, because what the hell are you even when you're talking, you're slowing it down. Even for guys like me, I still don't know what the hell you're talking about half the time.
When we do it well, we're like magicians. When we mess up, we're
Yeah, you see the lady under the desk
right.
popping up.
Right. And if you're here in LA, see Tim perform at the Magic Castle every Tuesday and Thursday night.
Have you been to the Magic Castle?
What's that? I've never been. I've always wanted to go,
I think they say it closed, but I would love to go.
Oh, it might have. I don't really know. If anyone out there knows about the state of the Magic
But I
Castle,
did go to the Comedy Store.
Did you?
Right before the pandemic, with my assistant Kalindra. She brought me there, and I saw Joe Rogan and Diaz
cool.
and play like literally almost their last show at the Comedy Store. That was fun.
That is fun. Did they come up to you? Did Joey Diaz come up to you and go, "Hey, Anthony,
He was good.
Yeah.
Honestly, he was the best comedian of the night by far.
Yeah.
And there was one A-list celebrity comedian
Mhm.
that is in the news today.
Mhm.
Literally, I read about it this morning. That I predicted that this person would have problems, because that night was a horror show. Like that person got on stage and it was an A-list celebrity that everybody knows and bombed.
performing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Performing. She bombed, I think, two ways. One was bombed and one bombed as a comedian. And it was horrifying. And just this morning, that person got themselves in a little bit of trouble.
Well, I hope that you're not talking about Terry Bradshaw, who's got a comedy type of a show in Las Vegas.
No, I'm not.
I know. All right, Tim. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I really enjoyed the conversation. Appreciate you guys inviting us on, and let's keep people.
Well, if you enjoyed this,
get
you're
people
bar
excited.
for enjoyment.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, that's good for us, right?
Hey, you guys are fun.
Yeah, Tim. You've heard a shameless plug. How can we learn more about Cendyn?
Go to cendyn.com, CENDYN.com, and all the information's there. Thank you.
Beautiful. Tim Sullivan, thank you so much for being here. Please just hang out for a minute as we wrap up. Thank you all for watching. Now, remember, tomorrow we're dropping that Paul Steelman show. You can learn all about that. It's a great history lesson on Las Vegas and casino design around the world. Anthony, what are you up to these coming
About 5, 7.5.
Oh, nice. That's pretty good. It's a big improvement over the other night when you were at 5, 7.5, or something like that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, download the audio version of our podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you download your shows. Well, we are there for you. That's why listennotes.com says we're in the top 0.5% of all podcasts in the world. So join the crew. Listen to us if you get tired of looking at our beautiful faces. He's at Anthony Hotels. I'm at Traveling Glenn. Any final thoughts, sir?
Yes. Every time that slide goes up, I look at it looking for misspellings. I've never found one, but I keep doing it every single day.
Well, keep looking, and maybe you will find one. All right, everybody. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
Be kind to yourself.